rookie quarterback of the day yesterday. Wasn't even close, was it? Wasn't even close yesterday.
No, it wasn't. When I look at the rookies and give Jaden Daniels credit, he's the one we're talking about, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. His debut was solid. It wasn't spectacular, I don't think, but it was solid. It was solid.
17 of 24 passing, 184 yards, no touchdowns, no picks, 16 rushes, 88 yards, 2 touchdowns. Hey, first game, that's like, yes.
Right.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Caleb Williams, 14 for 29 for 93, and Bo Nix was 26 for 42 for 138 yards, no touches, and 2 picks.
Yeah, the fact that Bo Nix had to throw, 42 times? Did we say way too many times? They put too much pressure. And I understand they were down and he had to, but I saw some good things from Bo Nix. His ability to scramble looked good. I look at Bo Nix versus Jaden Daniels versus Caleb Williams. I don't think he has the weapons those other guys have, especially the Bears. Like, I think there's a lot on his shoulders.
What do you think of the state of quarterbacking right now? Every year people talk about a quarterback crisis. I do feel like, and I first started thinking about this when I saw the numbers today and how the passing touchdowns for week 1 have been going down. We had that generation of great quarterbacks like we had, Brady and Manning going head to head. And now I feel like there's a transition period. Some of the guys that are supposed to be the next great quarterbacks, and I know Mahomes is phenomenal, maybe the best ever, but there's a lot of quarterbacks who are potentially great quarterbacks who aren't there yet. I mean, I look at your guy, Jalen Hurts is a fine quarterback, and Brock Purdy, but they're not all-time greats.
Right. Who's the next all-time great outside of Patrick Mahomes?
I mean, it could be Dak, maybe.
Yeah, but even
Burrow's supposed to be.
Look, Dak,
Josh
Allen, Burrow, they're good, but to become an all-time great, you got to win the big one, right?
Yeah.
And like you talked about last week, with Patrick Mahomes in your way, it might be the era where these great quarterbacks, it's almost like Jordan in the 90s. You've had Dominique, a great player, but had to run up against Jordan. Karl Malone, great player. Stockton, great. Sean Kemp, Gary Payton, great players. But Patrick Ewing. But when you look at these quarterbacks, like Dak's a fine quarterback, man. He's a good quarterback. Josh Allen, good quarterback. Burrow, good quarterback. But they aren't legendary.
Goff against Stafford, were those two legendary quarterbacks?
No, not at all. Not at all. Not at all. And I'm trying to think of the last legendary matchup. Brady and Mahomes. No, come on.
By the way, in his first game, Brock Purdy beat Tom Brady, but I mean, that's fact.
That is fact. Yeah. That is fact. And that's something he'll be able to hang his hat on, a regular season game, but to be great, we talked about it. You got to win when it matters the most. And as good as Purdy has been, he hasn't won yet. And so he's in the same category as, let's say, a Joe Burrow or an Allen, good, but not great yet.
Look at yesterday, Anthony Richardson, phenomenally talented, incredible X-Factor quarterback, did some great things yesterday, and C.J. Stroud. But neither one of them, and Stroud's a lot further along than Anthony Richardson. Two guys that could be great quarterbacks, they're just not there yet. I think we have a lot of quarterbacks like that right now. This guy could be great, not there yet.
Do you think the throwing the quarterbacks right into the mix hurts them? Meaning, usually if you're drafted high, your team is bad. A lot of times you're got a new coaching staff coming in. Or do they do the Jordan Love thing? Learn under Aaron Rodgers for a few years, and then bam, I'm ready.
Yeah, I don't know the answer because, for decades, you never played your guy.
Right.
And then you look at 2011, 2012, Andrew Luck came in, boom, he was very good right away.
Yeah.
Russell Wilson came out of nowhere. It's like, who's this guy? He was really good.
That's true.
RG3 also, but then he got hurt. So I don't know the answer.
Right. We talked about this before months back, how much of it is the quarterback and how much that are there just bad coaches in the league now? The coaching isn't what it used to be as well. How many times have we seen, a quarterback come in and 1, 2, 3 seasons later, all right, new head coach. Think about this with the Eagles, with Jalen Hurts. 3 different offensive coordinators in 3 seasons. There's no continuity, consistency anymore. And I wonder how much that impacts. A guy like Trevor Lawrence, shouldn't he be great by now? You would think, right?
Mhm.
Like, but he hasn't shown it yet. And how much of it is coaching? How much of it is weapons, system, culture? You know, a lot of times these quarterbacks go to franchises. There's a reason why they're bad, because the culture is bad. Giants. How many times have the Jets had top picks, first round picks as quarterbacks, and it just hasn't panned out?
Daniel Jones, it almost looks like they're just stubborn. Like, no, he's good.
Right.
Why? Because we say so. Okay, he's terrible. No, we're going to give him more money. And then we're going to show you how good he is. He's still terrible. Yes.
And I got to imagine this is the last go around for Daniel Jones. Like, he's just not it. And I was listening to something earlier today talking about the Colts, the Panthers situation, and how, they traded their picks to move up to get Bryce Young and everything. And now you look at this year's quarterback draft. Like, to me, I like all these quarterbacks. And we ain't even seen my boy Penix Jr. yet. Like, I think this is going to be ultimately a great QB class. This isn't going to be like, Ryan Leaf and those guys, that flamed out outside of Peyton Manning. I think this is going to be a great QB class.
I'll tell you what, there were a lot of people, and I know we were not among them. The three of us were not among them. But there were a lot of people who criticized Atlanta for drafting Penix, right? After yesterday, that's pretty smart, wasn't it?
Pretty smart, right?
That might have been a pretty smart move.
Because here's the thing about Atlanta, too. I don't think they're ready to win yet. And so, you have Penix learn under Kirk Cousins. Let Kirk Cousins take the abuse. And by mid-season to the end of the season, if things aren't looking at it, then you could put Penix in.
The question you asked about, is it better to play a guy now right away or not? That I still am not sure why that's an option now, because it didn't used to be. For decades, it's like you couldn't do that, right? And I think it's because the rules now make it not easy, but easier on quarterbacks and offenses.
Right.
Also, I asked Phil Simms about that once, and he said, you got kids, they're going to quarterback camp now. They're like 11 years old, and they're going to quarterback camp.
Right.
So they've had more reps, and they study the position more. By the time they get into college, they know a lot more. But it is interesting to me. Yeah, Caleb Williams, yesterday, struggling mightily in his first game.
Yeah, I wonder, too, you got quarterbacks now, like Penix Jr., for instance. He's been around forever. These quarterbacks come in a little older than before in terms of, because of the COVID year and everything like that. Like you said, also, quarterback camps, like these guys have been prepping for this moment. And, but then you look at a guy like C.J. Stroud. He's done okay. Love, it took some time, but once he got in there, he's been okay. And so I need to see how it plays out with these three.
Yeah. So what is the new contract that Dak got? What's it going to mean for Brock Purdy's big payday? Got to look at our week 1 picks, too, and how Aaron Rodgers' toughest test is going to come early this year. That's all coming up here with The Drive, guys, as we get ready for the 40.